Hello, hello, hello. I am Sarah Kupfer from JWed, and I am here on JWed to host Eliza Ben Shalom of Marriage Minded Mentor. So I'm just going to wait for her to hop on. She should be here momentarily, and I know that Eliza is going to answer all of your questions about virtual dating. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and there are still a lot of people dating. So we are going to let her answer the questions that you might have about that. So I see Eliza's here. Where is she? Eliza's watching. Eliza, you got a request. There we go. Request. Took me a second to figure that out. And we are waiting for her. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can get started, put them in the comment section right there. I'll be moderating this conversation, and she's here.
Hello! How are you?
She's
Can you hear me
good.
okay?
How are you?
Good.
I hear you
Hanging
just
in there.
fine.
A little bit of chaos, nothing unusual. Hello, everybody.
Nothing unusual.
Okay, so we are so excited that you're here. We are going live, and we're here to answer all of your dating questions, all the things that you're thinking about, talking about, dealing with, struggling with, anything that's going on in dating right now, which is pretty much upside down. The whole dating world, like the rest of the world, has gone upside down, and everybody's like, wait, what? We should date for how long online? We're not going to see each other in person. How do we progress this? I can't meet anybody. I'm meeting lots of people, but nobody's right. What's happening? We would love to know what your questions are about dating during this time, how you can get through this process a little bit more gracefully. It would be our goal to help you there. Also, you should know that JWed rolled out a new platform, and they are allowing you to contact people online and not just communicate, but to actually do some videoing with them directly, which is pretty awesome. So you should
That's
check
so
out,
cool.
right? You should check out the app. There's lots of good things happening. Yeah, it makes it easier. Like, I don't have to give you my phone number. I don't have to worry about you being a stalker. You just could be a great, fabulous person.
Yeah.
I could test you out on the app, and we'll see if it goes anywhere.
I actually really, really like that because I think there's something great about not having to give out your phone number. I'm not against giving out phone numbers, but not having to give out your phone number right off the bat, and then being stuck with people who won't stop texting you because we've all had those experiences.
Right.
But like it's the next level up. Like it's not just chatting where you can actually, you know, take anything to the next level.
Right. You can see
That's
them like
cool.
this, face to face, and get connected. So the question is, what are your dating questions? Because I know that you have them. We've been doing webinars, oh my gosh, for the last 6 weeks or so, since the end of March. All of the events that were scheduled to be in person got bumped to online. And once we get on a roll, it seems like questions could go on forever. Our very first webinar went on for 2.5 hours, which was insane. And then
And a
and
lot
then
of
we had a
fun.
it was a lot of fun, and there's a replay if anybody wants to see it. If you go to marriagemindedmentor.com, you can see all of the previous webinars that are there. The replays are totally available, but there's always new questions. I'm always surprised. Sometimes Sarah's like, oh yeah, we've done that one. We've answered that before. And sometimes there's a new one, and she's like, never heard of that one. That's a good one. So we would love to know what's going on in your dating world, how we can help you through this, what kinds of questions you have about dating and relationships, and maybe we can even just dig into some of the most popular questions or some of the things that have come up recently. Should we do that?
I think maybe let's start with that. Let's start with some of the most popular recent frequently asked questions. And then as you guys have any questions, just again, drop them in the comment section right there. I'll be monitoring that, and I'll ask Eliza to chime in. Eliza, anything that stands out top of mind that you want to get started with?
Some people have been asking if it's even worthwhile to date right now, right? Like, hey, I start to date, I meet somebody, now we chat 3 times, we video chat, we get to know each other. There's something nice that's there, but how long should that really go on for? And is it even worth dating right now? Or should we just kind of not be dating? Should we put everything on hold? So there's a lot of different theories on this, and I'm going to tell you, right? Good question. I'll tell you what my thinking is about this. I don't think that we should stop the world, right? The world is going at a slow pace, so we could move dating along at a slow pace. Caveat, if you're somebody who needs time to take a break, you need time to just chill out, you're not in a headspace for dating, so by all means, don't date. I'm talking to the people that are like, no, I really want to date. I want to be dating. I want to be meeting people. If you want to be meeting people, I think that you should. And the question is, how should we go about it? So I just heard this concept on one of the groups that I was in recently, and they said what they're doing is they're getting Zoom calls together. They're bringing on 50 plus singles. They're introducing each other. They're talking. They're breaking out into little chat rooms. And then if people want to meet one-on-one and get to know each other better, they do that, but they limit them to 3 45-minute meetings. And after that,
So
it's
it's
basically
a
on hold.
virtual speed dating.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like group parts to it, and then there's like individual parts, or even not one-on-one speed dating, but like 3 on 3 or something like that. And then
I
it's
think
like, well,
there's a
but
bit of a lag.
oh.
What did you say? Did you say that after the 3 45 minutes, then they stop?
Yeah. So if they've been dated, if they decide in a group chat that they meet somebody and they like them and they feel connected, then they can do one-on-one chats with them. And they chat with them one-on-one. And after having chatted with them 3 separate times, one-on-one and getting to know them, they don't encourage you to continue meeting and continue getting to know each other. They say there's some nice potential here, but we would like you to get together to meet in person, and it's on the agenda to do in the next couple of weeks or couple of months when people become available.
How do you feel about that?
So on one hand, I think it's a really smart move because some people are having a really hard time developing an online relationship, and there's something that has an amount of potential, and then we can't build it into anything. It's hard. We're not seeing each other. We're not connecting. So like, where do we really go from here? Are we going to just Zoom the entire time, get engaged, and the time I meet you, to say we're getting married is going to be in person? Like, it's a little bit hard. So I'm kind of open to the idea, and I
But then
appreciate.
if you're not, if
you go.
if you're not comfortable, if you're not comfortable with long-term or extended virtual dating, which I understand that people aren't, but in that case, why not just wait? Like what pops into my head, and I think this would be more, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume this is more of a right-wing crowd where they don't date for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
I would think 2 things pop into my mind. Number one, you meet someone, if you actually have 3 great 45-minute conversations and then you stop cold turkey, you're building up this anticipation in your head, and most likely you're going to build a whole story and you're going to build a whole relationship that doesn't even exist, especially because we don't know how long we have. If it's going to be 2 3 months until they actually get to meet in person, by the time they meet they're like, wait, this is not the guy I spoke with on the phone, or this is not the girl that I got to know over the phone. That's number one. And number two, if I want to feel like I'm dating and I'm moving my dating life forward, then 3 conversations is not going to satisfy that. So great, I had 3 conversations. I feel like people would then just get on another speed dating thing and have another 3 conversations and another 3 conversations, so that by the time this is over, you have like 6 options, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but I don't see how this is like a productive way of virtual dating.
Right. So in theory, wouldn't it be amazing if you had 6 options on hold? Like how often would that actually happen? Because you're not really going to match with people. Most people you're going to go through that process with, it's going to be a fail. So by the end of quarantine, I would only expect somebody to have 1 person, maybe 2 people that they're like, yeah, I could see something. I'd be interested to learn more. I'd be interested to connect with them more. But yes,
Okay,
it's
cool.
right that it's,
So this
you're
is a
right that
good
it's
option for the people. This is a good option for the people who don't want to do the virtual dating long term, but still don't want to be sitting on their bottoms and doing nothing.
right, totally.
Okay, I hear it. I hear it. It has its pros. Interesting.
Right.
What about for the other people?
Hang on
What
a
about the
second.
people who are comfortable um, getting on a video for a little bit longer?
Yeah,
What's their
so
option?
for the people that are comfortable getting on video longer, I would say like extend the dating process. So in general, we say that people should date if it's long distance. Let's pretend no quarantine, but long distance, I always tell people the relationship should take about twice as long as an in-person relationship. If we're talking about quarantine dating, it might take 4 times as long or 5 times as long. Like really, the process is drawn out. I may have never seen you in person. So if I've never seen you in person, we could get connected, but I'm only going to be getting a little bit at a time. It's not going to be so easy.
Hmm. So is that, are you saying that like at the beginning they should be speaking less often and slowly working their way up to more, like setting those boundaries in place right off the bat?
So it's a good question, right? The dating momentum. Sorry, you have another question?
No,
The
I was
date,
just gonna say, or is it less about the like timing of it and more about the development of the actual connection between the two people?
right. It's more about the actual connection of the two people. For some people, they get on a first phone call, they talk for 2 hours, even though they only intended to talk for 45 minutes. They're really connecting, there's something there. And maybe 2 days later, they get on a call again and they're still, and you start to build momentum in terms of your connection and you just go with it. The thing that you want to be careful of is not keeping somebody on the phone for too long, because there's some people that are afraid to speak up and they won't actually like cut off a conversation. And so then you're like yapping on and they're like, oh my gosh, like I kind of could be into you if you would stop talking. Don't keep me on the phone
I've
so long.
definitely had those calls.
Right? Right? You're like 2 hours ago I liked you. Now, not so much.
Right.
So yeah,
Got
it's
it.
really individual, but if you are dating now, expect it to just be a longer process. There should be more people online. Like if you're checking out JWed, you should see that more people are online more consistently, more and more consistently. So you should be able to find more available people and different faces. Like as you're swiping through everything, you should be able to see more things, more people.
Got it. Just a reminder to everyone else who's joining us, we are answering, well, Aliza is answering your virtual dating questions. I'm here to help her moderate the conversation and share my 2 cents when I feel like it. Someone apparently thinks I look like Jakob Schwecki. Okay, I'll take it. No relation whatsoever. Um, and yeah, again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment box. We're going to do our best to try to keep this a positive space. Um, and in the meantime, Aliza, what's the second most popular question that comes up about virtual dating that you've been getting over the last few weeks?
Yeah, something that people are really struggling with is great. So I met somebody and we spoke, but like now what? How do we actually do a virtual date? How do we go on a virtual date? So I recently, like last night, had a girl write to me and tell me she has an entire list of virtual dating games, places to go, and things to do. And she sent me this master spreadsheet that she created. It's color coded. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
And she said she spent hours putting this together. And she said, if you're going to be dating, you got to do something. So what is it that you're going to do? Can you play a game together? You know, she said, like, you could do Battleship, for example, right? And I've got my Battleship board on my end. You've got yours on your end. If you both happen to have Battleship and you both like the game, you could do a game. There's virtual museums that you can visit. There's activities and things that are online. There's places that you could never go and see in person because you might never get there, but they're opening up their online right now, and it's super fun. So people are hanging out and doing those things together. And I know what your favorite thing
Nice.
is, which is not my favorite thing. You know your favorite thing?
Netflix party. The funny thing is, for all I talk about it, I haven't even used it yet.
So Sarah loves the idea of going on a Netflix party and watching a video together, and that you're like virtually hanging out as you're watching a movie. I don't think it's a great idea because like you're not usually schmoozing through a movie, and when people interrupt movies, it's really irritating. It's like, shh, stop talking. I want
Hold
to
on,
listen.
hold on, hold on. I'm gonna say my defense for this. If you are no, it's not a first, second, or third date thing, but if you are the kind of person who goes to the movie for a date once you've already started developing a relationship, then it's fun. And yeah, we do totally talk through the movie because usually the theater's empty and we're sitting next to each other and we'll comment on what's going on. And I think you can do the same thing with a Netflix party. If you have to, like, I would totally get on the phone and share my thoughts and totally
Awesome.
talk through the whole thing, drive him nuts if that's, if it drives him nuts. But
So
like you
those are
need
some.
someone to laugh with. There's like nothing like a good
Okay.
comedy that you have someone to laugh with. You know what I mean?
I hear. I hear that. Right. It's more enjoyable with the two of you. I see Miss Susan popped up and she said she likes the
Yeah.
Netflix idea. You have to know my mom of blessed memory was a
Thank you.
teacher, and she was known as Miss Susan. So to see that up on the screen, hello Miss Susan, it's just like a very warm spot in my heart when I see that. Takes me back.
Aw.
Um, okay, so
Aliza,
dating, what else? Yeah.
Aliza, I actually have a question. Do you know, I know I'm popping on here from the JWed Instagram account, but I'm not actually JWed. I'm just here hosting Aliza. Um, do you know if they have Shadchanim that people can work with? Like if someone
Through
signs up for
JWed.
JWed, do they have, I know, yeah,
Yeah, so the
Adam made a comment
platform
here for you.
Yeah, so the platform here is more of a do-it-yourself platform, meaning here is a database of singles. You don't have to go through a matchmaker to do this. You actually get to view all of the singles yourself, and you get to be your own matchmaker, which is great because you get to
Got
choose
it.
what works for you and what you're looking for. And then you reach out and you connect with people. That's another thing that people, struggle with online apps. They're like, well, what do I say? So I'll tell you what not to say, and then we can tell you what to say. So what not to say is like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How was your day? Like, skip all of that. Read through their profile, whatever they wrote, and comment on something that they wrote. Like, oh, I also connect to this, point out something that you both connect to, and then ask a follow-up open-ended question, something that
Yes, yes,
is
yes, 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 yes,
yeah, that allows them
yes.
not if it gives them a yes or no answer, it is not open ended. It has to be a broad question. Tell me more about, what's next on the agenda. Like, oh, you're into gardening, and I see you planted an amazing garden. Me too. I have this in. What's on your next, da 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 da. Keep going and running with that.
It's
It's
really
really
nice to know. It's really nice to know that someone isn't just, running through the list and just hitting randomly, but that they actually took the time to read your bio, to read what interests you, and is responding to a specific point. Aliza says that sounds so mechanical. I'm not sure which part you're talking about. You want to clarify that? I don't know if that was a question or just a comment. Um,
It
but
might even be the
yeah,
commenting, like that it sounds like mechanical and robotic to like, oh, I see what you wrote and I commented. But you're trying to build a conversation and a connection, and you need to build it based on something that exists and not just like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? How's your day? So it
yeah.
might seem mechanical and it might seem boring, but it's just the basics of schmoozing with somebody that you don't know online.
I really
Thank
want to
you,
make a comment, but it's
Sarah.
probably the worst comment to make. So I'm not going to make it.
Are you sure? You just enticed the entire audience and me. I want to know what you're going to
I,
say.
I mean, like, because I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but it's just funny because I typically, like, anytime I got a message like, hey, how are you? Or hey, whatever. That's like an automatic no thank you, move on next. Um, and I have to say, the only thing that my fiance sent me was, hey, sweetie. I responded to it as a joke because I was like, yeah, no one says that to me and gets away with it. So I responded back with something like, hey, cutie. And now we're engaged. But I will say I make fun of him for it all the time. And he's Israeli. English is not his first language. And he's like, do you think I knew what I was doing? I was like,
Right,
no,
right.
no, you didn't. He's like, exactly. So don't try it. It worked, but it was a fluke.
Right. In general, that doesn't come off so well, and it's kind of cool that you spontaneously also responded, and then something actually happened. Right? It's like one of those one in a million that it
Yeah,
actually
but my
happens for
response
somebody.
was really, really like a, my response was really a snarky, that's like the
Right.
worst way to open up to a woman. And yeah, just don't do it.
And you got over it.
Apparently.
Okay. All right. So online, look, online I think is very hard. It's not super natural. Although now that everything's online so often, it's so much more natural than it used to be. Meaning, even 3 months ago, as much as online, you might have been like, oh, it's okay. Now it's like, that's all you got. We don't have anything else. We don't have the in-person meetings.
Right.
So if you want to do it online, that's it. If it sounds robotic, you can try to make it poetic. You can try to make it fun. You can try to make it engaging. Don't spend so long trying to figure out what to say that you exhaust yourself before you say something, and then you say it, and then you're irritated that you don't get a response back. Just expect that probably 80-90% of the people, they might not even respond back. Maybe they're dating somebody, maybe they didn't go on the app, maybe they're not available, maybe they got sick, God forbid. There could be a lot of reasons why somebody doesn't respond. So don't let those things deflate you, and just know it's a normal part of the dating process. And the ones that you want to pay attention to are the ones that actually work for you, the ones that respond to you, the ones that you're most interested in.
Yeah, and
So
I really like the way that you put that. I really like the way you put that, and I would say taking it a step further, and it's hard to take this from like knowledge to reality, but I would say like don't take it personally. And it's true, if they didn't respond, there's nothing there. So focus on the ones that do respond. Did you have something else to say, or were
no,
you in the
no,
middle of a sentence and I cut you off? Okay, because we do have a question
no.
that just came in. What's the best way to disconnect if you decide that they're not for you? Should you be upfront about it not working, or should you just let it run its course?
To be honest, the ideal thing is to be upfront about it not working. Um, the challenge is that some people don't want to take no for an answer. So you might be upfront about it, and then somebody might be like, well, I hear your reason, but hey, you don't really know me, and therefore you shouldn't be so quick to judge. So for being honest and being like straightforward and good, you might get a lot of backlash. And as long as you're prepared to handle that, then I would say being upfront and just saying, so nice meeting you. This isn't for me. Or you can say, so nice meeting you. I, currently involved with something else that came up. I, want to only see one person at a time. You could give a lot of different answers that might help to just pacify the person and not make a big problem. And if you get any negative or interesting responses or passive aggressive things, it just happens. Don't let it really upset you. Some people handle rejection better than others. If you just let it ride,
To
it's a
say
little
the
bit
least.
harder. But it's a little harder if you let it ride, because it sort of leads somebody on, and they could be putting their effort elsewhere. And if it's really not for you, you should let somebody know.
And I'm also going to add to that that if you are in a situation where you are upfront and the other person is like Eliza said, I've actually never heard you say this, and I'm so happy you did because it reminds me of a horrible experience I had. But if that person does say something like, well, you don't really know me and you're so judgmental, and how could you do that? We only, spoke for 2 weeks, blah, 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 or 2 times, whatever it is. You don't have to feel bad for saying no. and for saying this is not for me. If you feel like, okay, maybe there is something here, let me give it one more chance, sure, but don't do it because you were guilted into it. It's not cool. I genuinely don't think the other person realizes that it comes off that way, but it feels like bullying and it's a little manipulative, to like it's essentially pulling on your moral standards the way they phrase it, and it's not cool, but you're not doing anything wrong by saying this is not a relationship that I'm interested in.
Right. Totally agree. Oh, dating during these times, it's so interesting. People are talking about, well, when are there going to be really in-person events? When are the Shabbatons going to start happening, and the in-person, speed dating and the meetings and all of those things? And right, I don't, I don't like, if I go like this and I like look in the
Who
future,
knows?
I'm like, we look June, July, August, September, high holidays, October, November, end of the year. Wait, it's going to be flu season. I don't know. I don't know when in person is going to happen. So I really feel like we need to just get comfortable with the uncomfortable of being online and make this our new thing. Like, let's make online something that works for us. I mean, we're the digital age people, so we should be able to handle dating
Yeah.
online. And I really
We
love
have,
that JWed makes it
yeah,
easier to connect.
yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. We have just a few minutes left, so I want to finish out. I'm gonna ask the final question and then we'll sign off for today. But what about, especially considering the fact that we have no idea how long we're gonna be in this non-interactive space for, what about the couple that does connect virtually, does develop a relationship online, and they've spoken for, a couple months or something, and they're at the point where they are ready to take their relationship to the next level, and they're at the point where it's time to meet in person and get this show on the road, whether that's 2 months or 4 months or whatever it is. Hopefully it won't be that long, but it might be. So at that point, what do they do?
What do we do? So somebody just was working with me asking this question, and it was like, well, we need to move it along. We have a few things to wrap up, but we also have to have what about the parents meeting? Like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine a virtual engagement. What does that look like? A wedding. Wait, how many people can we have? 10 people, 50 people? I don't know. And their brains start to explode with all of these things that are going on. So first of all, I think that they should be meeting in person-ish, like whether it's we go grocery shopping and we stand 6 feet apart, you at one end of the cart or the aisle and me at the other, and just having time together, or if it's appropriate and okay in your community to be outside, with a lawn chair over here and a bench over there and something where there's a significant amount of distance with your masks and everything for protection and safety, but to be there in person, to see each other physically, I think is a very
Mm-hmm.
important part of the process. And then I think they need to slow everything down and just figure out, wait a minute, what does this mean, right? Parents meeting,
Right.
not meeting, wedding, what does that look like? I know you're engaged and facing this dilemma right now, like, what's it going to be? Like, how many people, like, I probably can't come to your wedding, which is insane. Like, how could
We're
I
not going
not
to
be
talk
there?
about
But
that.
okay. but like, how is that a reality? And it really is. The reality is that if people are meeting and they're outside, they're in person, they need to have a mask, they need to be appropriately distanced, but they need to actually see each other if there's something that's going on, because hey, you could get married and then just be quarantined together, because that's really what the world is
Right.
looking like right now. And there's no
Right.
timeline, and I don't think we can guess at how long it's going to be. We should just, what we know is that it's not now, and so we should prepare as if it's not happening now. And when it opens up and things shift, so we'll be ready for that and excited for that as well.
So it kind of sounds like if your relationship is at the point where you're ready to take it to the next level and it's time to meet in person, go social distance grocery shopping, and if legally and it's halakhically approved in your community, maybe do like a social distance date, and reach out to a dating mentor. Elizabeth Chelm's a pretty good option.
If you need support, we are here. Just for anybody who doesn't know us, I work as a dating and relationship coach one-on-one with very serious marriage-minded singles. I have a team of coaches that also work with singles through the dating and relationship process, and we have some pretty awesome online programs like Daters Academy and Dating Detox that help you to, Dating Detox helps you to kind of reset, and Daters Academy is actually phenomenal for JWed because it'll help you to redo your profile, have a new perspective, figure out how to explain what you're looking for with different language to catch somebody's eye, and hook them in, and then you can jump on their platform and start virtually dating through their new system. So we would love to hear from you. We would love to connect with you and stick with JWed and check out your options, because I think a lot of new people should be on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aliza, for joining me. Thanks, JWed, for having us. I'm not sure how this works, but we're going to sign off for now, and hopefully we'll be back.